Indeed, the sermon has been preached in different languages. We sing the same song. Great is the faithfulness of God. In Spanish and Indonesian, in English, in Portuguese, in Korean, in Turkish, many languages, one spirit. This is the simple and yet still profound message of Pentecost, that it is possible. It is possible to experience a unity in diversity that does not require uniformity. It is possible for there to be distinctions and still for us to be on one accord. It is possible. It is possible for us to have different cultures and customs and traditions, and yes, it is possible to speak different languages and yet still sing the same song. Great is the faithfulness of God. This is the message that greets us on this day. On this Pentecost Sunday, on this New Member Sunday, I'm not going to do too much today so as to leave room for spirit, to leave room for the word to be spoken by the five who will join formally this fold, and to speak their sermons, to speak their words, to sing their song in this place. Because Pentecost is the celebration of our commonality, the commonality of our shared humanity. In the story of Pentecost, we hear the message that change is possible. And those who experience the transformation of Pentecost, they changed their lives. And their changed lifestyle led to a change in the worlds around them. They walked a new walk. They talked a new talk. They took on a new way of thinking about the world, not simply as it is, but a world as it might be. You see, beloved, the Pentecost people adopted a new outlook, a new sensibility that celebrates that shared common humanity of all people, of all of God's creation. And it turns out that this worldview is not so common. In fact, it actually defies common sense to assert that we have all things in common. Even in towns like ours, with the Boston Common in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, home to the first public schools and public libraries, it is not so common to resonate with this message of sharing, of shared ownership. Sounds actually more like socialism. When modern Christianity has become more shaped by capitalism, the language of a common wealth, it sounds more like a street we walk down and not streets that we all might live in. We're real people, varying wealths, access to privilege, education, and power might dwell together, live together, be one together. But this is the message that greets us on this Pentecost day. In the midst of all of our individuality and our diversity, still we have so much in common. Still, we might have so much in common. Even a shared humanity that knows no nation and at the same time celebrates that we are many nationalities and still one people. Which is to say, the catastrophes that encircle the globe in places like Gaza, they are atrocities that diminish us all. They are crimes against our common humanity as they violate each and every one of us. And when it seems like our prayers and our protests and our words are merely empty rhetoric, we speak again that there is something that courses through each and every one of our veins, a commonness that we should not ever forget, and in the other, we see ourselves, no matter where the other resides. So we think globally and we act locally. For our Home and Table initiative, it maintains a simple and profound truth. Everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves good food. Everyone deserves safety. Yes, we have something in common that binds us together. So we gather this day for communion at a common table, and at this table we become community. A community of the faithful whose sensibility is not so common as it turns out. This message that we preach, that we proclaim: unconditional love, compassionate service, intersectional justice, Christ's gospel of liberation. On this day, we continue to hear the story of Pentecost, which we heard sung, which we heard read beautifully in many languages. And that message of Pentecost, it continues as the scriptures come on screen, that later on in that chapter, when the Spirit of God is poured out on all people, a message is proclaimed that speaks to us and says, the believers, they gathered together in one place, and they committed themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the breaking of the bread, to the fellowship, and to prayer. And these, the people of God, they had all things in common because they were one. One people, many languages, many cultures. One people, one God, one faith, one baptism. So as we gather this day, we continue to pray the prayer and live our lives like a prayer, that they all might be one. This day of Pentecost, the everyday mystery, this holy mystery that greets us on this day, we are never alone. We're in this together. This holy mystery is an everyday message. It's a story that is spoken and preached on Easter. It's a story that is preached and lived today on Pentecost. And in this story, we hear the story of love and liberation. And in the stories that will be spoken on this day by Emily and Brianne, by Ulumna and Izzy, by Thomas, and even by you, we might hear the stories of love and liberation, different experiences, different walks, one family, one community, one table. So as we hear the story of Pentecost, we hear the story of resurrection. As we hear the stories of our new members, we hear the stories of our own. So as Emily and Brianne, Ulmina and Izzy and Thomas come to this pulpit to speak their songs, why don't we put our hands together as they come, as we welcome them. Because their story is our story, and our story is their story. And together, in this place, as we welcome them into membership, we write the next chapter of our common story together. Because here at Union, we are family. Thanks be to God. Let the people of God say amen and ashe.